Hello all, my name is Carmine Solano and I'm doing a little late night session, just a little informal, unscripted on a walkthrough of the difference between good flow and bad flow, or maybe not bad, but just what sounds good, what sounds better. Let's do that. So what I'm going to do is just do a little screen share here with 8CountMixer. And let's just dive right in. What we're going to do mostly is listen. We'll listen to some examples and talk about why does something sound good and why does something just not sound as good. So here we go. Right off the bat, we'll just grab a song here. When we walk, the ground shakes. So let's throw it on the 8-count sheet and then we'll talk about it. As always, I say this every time, and only about 3 out of 4 people do it. Start all your songs on a 1. And that's not like a, ooh, let's, make it easy for you thing. That's kind of how cheer music goes. Your downbeat should always be on a 1. If they're not, you're doing it wrong. It's that easy. So here's the track.
Cheersounds.com. You feel us coming miles away. Cheersounds.com. We never lose a single game. Cheersounds.
Okay, so when I hear this, I'm thinking, this is not running, tumbling. This is not high energy. This is not even a lot of, it's not a lot of action. It's more impact, powerful. I'm thinking jumps. I'm thinking standing, tumbling. Now, maybe not jumps. I'm thinking opening, really. Number one, I'm thinking opening. I might be thinking baskets. I might be thinking standing, tumbling. The reason I think of those 3 is because they really don't have fast movement. They're more about something happens, pow, or get ready, get ready, get ready, boom, like a jump, or I'm sorry, like a basket. Get ready, watch, watch, watch. Oh, there it is, pop, 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 boom. And so to me, and most viewers, that calls for an impact moment. So let's just pretend we started with that. Well, this song ends with this. Let's see here.
Foot right foot, I can make a move.
Okay, what do we do from there? What are the rules? Are there any rules? Let's just find out. The best way to find out is to mess around. Just grab something, don't even listen to it, just throw it on, and let's see what happens. I'm just going to do like a highlight render from here to here so we can hear the 2 and hear the 2.
Shaking in your boots, foot right foot, I can make a move.
Okay, to me it was jarring. The reason it was jarring is because she was like all open and hollow, and that was okay, and I expected another boom, like big hit, boom. But instead I got this kind of like 80s funky hip-hop, and to me that's where the disconnect lies. Could we work with it? Yeah, but it's not, to me it's not desirable. I'm just going to hit delete right away. The reason why is because flow is everything. You can have a lot of cool songs, but if they don't flow well, everything just feels disconnected or amateur. So instead, I'm going to look for something that has another powerful feeling to it. So let's listen to the end of
Got you shaking in your boots, foot right foot, I can make a move.
So I want to hear that boom. I want to hear something big, not boom. I want to hear something boom, boom, pa, or whatever. Let's listen. Okay. So right away, again, this is not scripted, and this is going to happen a lot. I'd say 50% of the time you're going to hit on something that works. 50% of the time you're going to want to move on to something else. So let's grab those 2. I'm going to play the same transition, and listen that it has continuity because of the punch.
Got you shaking in your boots, foot right foot, I can make a move. Cheersounds.com.
We also went female vocal to female vocal, and they weren't too different. And to me, that also has continuity. Now, in the world of radio, you want to go male to female to male to female, and they like to alternate back and forth. That will work here too. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, this isn't to tell you what's right or wrong. It's just to tell you what's a little bit better than something else. So I'm going to find another. This one works. Just put in the work, but let's find another. What's this one?
We got the power, we got the power, we got the power, we got the power.
Same thing. Feel how it's got heavy beat. It's got heavy beat. So my guess, my gut, is that this is going to work. Let's hit play.
Got you shaking in your boots, foot right foot, I can make a move.
We got the power, we got the power, we got the power, we got the power, we got the power.
Cool. To me, both of those last two we did worked. The first one we didn't really work for me. All right, so how does this one end? We're making examples here for continuity. So what's this one sound like at the end? I'm sorry, my internet connection is slow. I'm far away from my Wi-Fi. So we have to deal with this butchery. Come on, Joe. Okay, so we've got this guy. We're about to bow. We want to bow, and he's kind of he's dozing off here at the end. So the first thing is right here on the 7/8. There's a little bit of a like nothing really happened. It kind of just tailed off. I didn't really mean to play that, but it kind of just tailed off. So we're going to want to do something to fill that in. Now, if the next song we pick has a pickup that fills that in, great. If it doesn't, this is where we could put in those little voiceovers that go, yeah, and all that crap. I know they're sometimes silly, like the ad-libs and stuff. Are they even in here, to be honest? Ad-lib. In our system, we mark them as ad-lib, but I don't know if we did that for the public. We did not. We should do that. I wonder if we throw them in sound effects. I'm going to come back to that. I don't want to waste too much time on it. Oh, ad-libs. We've been doing a lot of updates, so now they've been moved. I'm like, where'd the ad-libs go? Here we go. So.
Yeah! 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 Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Okay.
Yeah!
Yeah, like that guy. Yeah. Throw one of those things in, and when you play it just fills in gaps.
Yeah!
Right? It just fills in gaps, so when you get to the next song, there was always moving energy. That is part of flow, and it's as easy as fixing of just saying, hey, there was a gap there, just fill it in. Let's add in another song, and then I'm going to take out the yeah, and we're going to listen to the difference of when we put it in for flow and when we don't.
We were made for this. This isn't our blood. We were made for.
Hold up, hold up, hold up. We get lit. Cheers. You know I
Okay. This one, I'm going to pick this one because it's a good example of when there's a giant dead space. So let's say we did a render to listen to this transition.
We got a power.
Cheers sound. Stop.
You know I
It took a long time to have a vocal come back in there. So on that 7/8/1/2, we really didn't have a vocal. Well, that's a good spot. If you wanted to work with shorter ad-libs, you could fill those in. You could even use, honestly, a 4-beat voiceover would work fine.
We run this.
No backing down.
No backing down. Where was no backing down? We just played it. No backing down. Okay, no backing down. I want to hear what beat this thing starts on.
No backing down.
I'm going to put it here.
No backing down.
Cool. Okay, so you got no backing down right there, and then we can go ahead and put the yeah in front of it. Let's search yeah again because there's a whole bunch of them. I'm looking for one that drags out. Yeah! Or whatever. There's a whole
Yeah!
yeah, something like that.
Yeah!
Those are too short, but this yeah, or even a oh yeah. Okay, so now let's preview the gap. And listen, we fill it in with little voices.
We got a power. Yeah!
No backing down.
You know I
Now, instead of going, yeah, you could put your custom, I would put custom voice over there. That's where you do your team name. That's where you do your, Jackson Jaguars. Yeah, no backing, or whatever. They're short, they're less than 4 beats. But the idea is you can't have a gap in the words, whether it's song to voiceover, voiceover to voiceover, or song to song. when you have a gap, there's something about it that just feels unfinished. It's the difference between polished and amateur. Let's move on. Find another example. What's the end of this thing sound like? Okay, you know it. So when I hear kind of an energy dive like that, to me, my inclination is go voiceover immediately after it. And the reason why is because contrast. When he's on an energy dive, I want to complement that with something that's a real upper, and the voiceovers are always uppers. We've moved most of them. All the old premium voiceovers became voiceovers, and all the old voiceovers became ad-libs. So I know that might be confusing, but we did it because now your voiceover sections have a heck of a lot more energy. Anyway.
Where was you at when we first started? You could not be found. So I hope that waves breaking on the shore, crashing and you can't ignore. Got those vibes and you want more. No time for vacation. Don't comfort me and never stop my team. You gotta pay me in RESPECT. Respect, respect, respect me.
Sounds like a jump sequence. Yeah, it sounds like a jump sequence. So now when you listen to the gap between those two,
You know it.
he goes,
You know it. Cheerssounds.com.
see, so it's contrast, and contrast is incredibly important. But my hesitation was to say, remember our first song where I didn't like how it went from the first song to the second song. The reason why is that wasn't contrast. That was like continuity issues. We went from one moderate energy beat to another moderate energy beat, and there was sort of this generational shift. The first song sounded like post 2010, the other song sounded like 1980. That to me was the problem in that. It didn't maintain that same boom, because the post 2010 stuff's got a big boom to its kicks, but the 80s stuff was like duk, duk, it's much weaker. That's why I had a problem with that. In this case, this is a more gleaming example of contrast. This dude's energy is chilling out. So who we follow up with? A voiceover artist who is just over the top with attitude, energy, sass, and drama, and all of that other bull. So check it out. Let's just preview that transition again.
You know it. You know it. Cheerssounds.com. And that's my team. You gotta pay me in RESPECT.
So we also have a contrast in the fact that the first guy is singing and the second guy is doing this like diva rap thing. That's also a contrast. Again, we didn't shoot for continuity of singing song to singing song. That would be boring because there wasn't enough change. Instead, we do like that shift, especially when one starts to stale out, hit it with another. Let's do another example. Back to songs. I'll tell you, my computer does not like recording the screen, broadcasting, and using this at the same time.
They can't stop us, they can't stop us, they can't stop us. They can't stop us, they can't stop us, they can't stop us.
So, contrast, to continue that conversation, the previous clip is all voiceover. All that. And now this is... We have contrast here. Yeah, they're both rhythmic, but one is like a diva rap thing, and the other is clearly pitched notes. Boom, 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 boom. Versus boom, boom, boom. So here, transition.
They can't stop us, they can't stop us, they can't stop us. They can't.
So that's why that works incredibly well, in my opinion. He was the voiceover was also closing out his statement nicely. He ended it with tons of energy. He's kind of all over with his pitchiness. There is even some gang vocal in there, which means when he records it like double or 3 or 4 times, puts it all together. And then we come out to this clean, more finished and the dude's kind of mellow but confident. Again, that's contrast. Boom, 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 boom. Also, in that voiceover section, if I wasn't mistaken, there's really no beat. It's more hit, 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 tigga, tigga, da, ha, 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 and we're waiting for the beat. So let's listen.
Respect me. Oh, respect the queen. They can't stop us, they can't stop us, they can't stop us. They can't stop us.
So supplementing on the idea of contrast, we went from a section that had no beat to a section that had beat. Now, listen, I promise you, if you know me in person, you know I'm not making this up because I don't like to prepare for stuff. I just like to wing it. So I have not picked these clips by any means. I'm not even reading the titles. I swear to you, there's so many songs in here, I don't even bother to remember their names anymore. I just hit play and I go with what sounds good. So everything that we've picked here, we've only picked one thing I didn't like so far. Continuity is really what the catalog was built for, but also I'm following some super basic principles. Remember, the reason I picked a voiceover here is because the previous track ended kind of dull. So if you want to take a note, you could write down, if the song ends kind of dull, go to a voiceover. If you want to take another note, you can say, if the voiceover section wasn't musical, follow it with something musical. If the vocal was follow it with something a little more structured after that. All of this, those three examples I just gave, frankly, are all contrast. And that's why I said before, we're getting a little lucky here, but I'd say you've got a 50% shot that when you pick a track, it's going to work. And the reason why is half of this catalog is the high energy crazy, and half of this catalog is the melodic, confident, but it's more like a song. The wild crazy stuff has no beat. The song stuff has a beat. So all of these elements they're baked in so that when you pick clips, you're going to hit upon 2 or 3 contrast points just by dragging the darn thing in. We haven't even bothered previewing this. To be honest, it's going to work. Like, let's just hit play, but it's going to work because that's how it was built. Check it out.
When we run the Cheersounds.com. You feel us coming miles away. Cheersounds.com. We never lose a single game. Cheersounds.com. We got you shaking in your boots. Left foot, right foot, I can make a move.
Cheersounds.com. We had a pound.
Cheersounds.com.
Flex up. We had a pound.
Cheersounds.com.
We had a pound. Yeah.
No backing down.
You know I voted it up.
Cheersounds.com.
I can't help falling in
Cheersounds.com.
You know it.
Cheersounds.com.
And that's for my team. You gotta pay me in RESPECT. Respect me. Oh, respect the queen. They can't stop us. 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 We unstoppable.
All right, so you got the idea. We didn't try. Honestly, you watched it. We didn't try. I couldn't have cared any less as I picked these clips. We picked one wrong one. Everything else just works. The idea is don't screw with it too much because what we're looking at right here is literally about 16 hours that we put together like not paying attention. The effort is already baked in. You do not have to screw with this. You don't have to, be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to learn how to mix all this music and do all this stuff. Honestly, what you're doing is just sequencing pieces together that you really like. Now, if you want to get into it, go ahead. You can trim this down. You can add some stutters over here. You can slice this part up and, chop it up and move it over here. And you can do all that stuff if you want to and have fun and sequence away. But it was designed so that you can be the laziest creature on earth and still build a mix that you could shove in somebody's face and go, yo, you paid $1,000 for this and I paid $199. Ugh. So do that. That's fun. That's nice. Let's grab another just to beat the horse so dead that there's pink mist coming out of him. All right, so the first thing you've got to do is you got to know, where am I coming from? So let's listen to that last 8 count. Okay, to me, it's one of these nosedivers, right? We unstoppable, unstoppable. And remember, we liked the track, and the track worked because it was contrasting. It wasn't super high energy like the previous was. But that means, where do we have to go? Right back to high energy. So, I mean, my gut here, again, is to go straight for voiceovers. I like voiceover heavy mixes, but if you don't want to, just look for a song that's super pumped that's going to do that. Did we ever put filters in here for... Not yet. We have filters coming for a section of routine, because that's how we did it. Here, I'll show you a quick trick, but this is what we're going to integrate together. Songsforcheer.com has all of the awesome filters for all of these songs, and we're going to integrate them into 8CountMixer so that you don't have to do what I'm about to show you, which is go to Songs for Cheer and say, show me all of the songs that are perfect for tumbling. I'm clicking tumbling because tumbling is super high energy. So what do we have here?
I know. So hard to go with. Got me so true, you so precise.
Cool, let's pick another.
Step up and watch us burn it up. Fire flames, we burn in. Top score, we...
Okay, so that's high energy. She's got a lot of attitude. She is literally the contrasting opposite of the dude we're listening to, who's super chill and he's using 2 notes, and he served his purpose. Just look at it that way. He served his purpose. Now it's time to move on. So we're searching for, what was that? Got that swag, and we're gonna, that's wage, not swag, and we're gonna pick that part where
We got that swagger, baby. We'll take you over. We got that swagger, baby. You know we got that swag. You must be
the
going.
song is so good for cheer.
We got that swag. You must be going. Fire flames, we burn in. Teach a lesson, y'all learn in. Top score, we earn in.
So throw that in, highlight the transition, because that's what this video is about, and let's listen to the transition. Okay, now notice, he kind of dove down, and there was a little bit of a pause, and then the song hit in full volume. This is where you want to do something right in the 7/8 to make up for that downtime. You could put in, so we have these backbeats. You could always borrow pieces. See how the second half of that goes, and then we're going to trim it from the front because I just want the 5, 6, 7, 8, and now we'll preview this again. See what we did there? Listen to it again. Right? Now the layman would go, oh, it got faster. Well, it didn't really actually get faster. The tempo's exactly the same, but the beat got more exciting and we double timed it. Instead of boom, 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 it goes boom, kappa, boom, kappa, boom, kappa, boom. It's actually the same tempo. We just double time it. We hit on every beat instead. So that super easy, took 0 effort at all. All we did was add in, I'm going to lower the volume of it just a little bit because it was a little abrasive. It introduces something exciting. We took a transition and we just grabbed the second half of it. That was it. And it works. It ramps us right up to that high energy. Check it out. So we've covered a bunch of examples of flow here. It looks like our mix will let us do another one, so I might as well. Let's go to music. Let's pick another. Now remember, the first step, figuring out, hey, what am I going to do with this mix? What do I do next? How do I make sure it flows? You got to know where you're coming from. So let's listen to the last 8 count to know where we're coming from. Okay, so she's that 8 counts high energy, boons, 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 boons. And at the end, she does do her punchline, that tap spat. To me, we are on high at this point, and now is the time to come back down. Now we bring it down. We can bring it down either with a voiceover that does not have a beat behind it. It's more ambient. It's more, let's find some examples. And by the way, I would absolutely do a voiceover at this point, because when you're super high energy at that point, the voiceover is the most flexible thing. A voiceover can be high energy and low energy at the same time. It just depends on the context you use it. So let's go straight to voiceovers, and we're going to listen to something that doesn't, we're going to look for something that doesn't have a ton of music to it. It's more about the vocalist taking his moment. Let's find it. That was more about a beat, so we don't want it.
We got it, that's swag, something you'll never have.
It's a beat. Okay, it has a beat, but you feel how empty it is? That's a candidate. It could work. It could work. Let's put it in just to talk about it. We're going to listen to that transition. Do you feel how it feels like the energy stepped down? And that's good. It didn't step down in the sense that it got boring. It stepped down in the sense that the previous song did its part. It stayed high energy when we wanted it to, and now it's time to back off of it. When would you do that in a routine? Maybe you're coming out of running tumbling. Maybe you're coming out of jumps. Maybe you're coming out of standing tumbling. Maybe you're going into baskets. Maybe you're going into... I don't want to use that for pyramid, but that could be the transition going to pyramid, the transition going to stunts. It's sort of this neutral. It's not super energetic, but his voice is still confident. He's still out there fighting. He's still showing you what he wants to show you. The confidence is always there, but the energy changed. Here, do it again. Listen to the transition. And then I got to get closer to the Wi-Fi base. I'm like 300 feet away and it's failing. See? Now let's do another, just to talk about it. Junk that guy. Let's find another.
What's poppin'? You tell me cause you know we really bout it. Say the name as loud as you can.
That one would probably work. Let's find another.
When they call my name, I wanna hear you scream. Everybody.
That would work fine.
Barbie gang, Barbie gang, Barbie gang, yeah. Just wanna party.
Okay,
To
to me, that's going to be the best fit. And the reason why is when we first set out saying, hey, let's look for a voiceover for this part, coming out of the high energy, I wanted something that was open, something that was just about the vocalist. And that's what this one's going to deliver.
Barbie gang, Barbie gang, Barbie gang, yeah.
Ah, so I only did a short render. Absolutely, absolutely. That's the dynamic.
Barbie gang, Barbie gang, Barbie gang, yeah. Just wanna party with Barbie, yeah. Barbie's the queen of the party.
And look, the beat came back in the second 8 count of that, but it doesn't matter. Like, you've moved on. You went from your high energy, you gave it a little bit of a break when you went, Barbie gang, Barbie gang, Barbie gang. Yeah, now we're back. That was like a reset button. Now you can come straight back to full energy, and it will be 1,000,000 times better than if you didn't take the pause at all. Very cool. That's what's so cool about cheer music. Like, cheer music is not hard. I mean, I believe I have the credential to say that. Cheer music is not hard. The hard part is just kind of knowing what to care about. Picking your songs, you don't have to care about all that much. As long as the people enjoy the song, as long as the athletes enjoy the song, put a check in the box. You're good. The next step comes to the flow. Now, if you want to get more critical, you could start talking about lyrics and blah, blah, blah. But the idea is, like, there's nothing to freak out over it, and there's nothing that you can't solve by being like, well, let me just try another song. Oh, cool, that one worked. It's different if you're sitting in the seat in the office and you have to build this track from 300 components.
We had the power, we had the power, we had the power, we had the power, we had the power.
Like, that's different. Multiple vocalists, blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to do that. All you have to do is drag and drop clips. All the hard stuff's done. That's what I mean by when I say this stuff's super easy. Let's do one more. Let's just delete a track in there. I actually really enjoyed listening to that song, to be honest. What did we do here? Let's redo this part and see if we can make it more.
We burn in. Teach a lesson, y'all learn in. Top score, we earn in. Every game, we sure to win.
Honestly, that sounds so good. But let's junk it just for the hell of it, and find another song that would go in there. We were looking for high energy, right? And so I went to songs for cheer, and I was just using the filters in there to find cool tumbling songs. So what's this one?
Break it, break it, break it.
Competition, we ain't worried about it every day. Leave the haters in the past. We bring that heat. Competition, we ain't worried. We do it in your lifetime. Major key alert. Don't
All right, so never. It has a fast part in it. Never. So we're just going to go over here, NAVER, give it a search. I favorite all. I'm on board with the cheer sound songs over the covers. I don't like covers, and I can't wait until we stop making them. But for now, we still do. All right, check out the transition. Let's see if it worked. Oh, I actually never previewed which part that was. What is it? Come on. All right, that is the part we want. So we want never chorus, drop that in, and take never verse and throw it in the garbage, and then highlight the click and drag highlight. I call it render region. And it's nice when it works, but let's try it again. Oops, music clip cannot overlap for more than it thinks the old clip is in there. Hold on, let me refresh the page. Sorry, can't be perfect, y'all. There it is. Yeah, I thought that verse clip was still in there. Okay, let's try that again. From here to there, and go. Apologies. So the same function is true there. Just for fun, I'm going to delete the transition background so you hear the kind of how jarring it is without it. Right, so it was like, whoa, where'd all that energy come from? I never really felt it coming. But if you put that back with the this undo doesn't undo unless something truly changes. It's brutal. It drives me nuts. It just ramps that energy right up. So cool. So we did a bunch of examples. We went super redundant and bored everybody, probably until they left. And that's good. So there's a bunch of examples on flow, which really just boils down to how do you handle your transitions, how do you make them not unexpected, and I'd say number one of all, how do you make them contrasting so that they are interesting and keep that momentum moving forward the whole time. Excelente, I'm going to check out, and thanks for playing along, much appreciated. Enjoy 8CountMixer. If you have any questions, send me a message. Send the team an email, info@cheersounds.com. Message me on Facebook. I'm not as fast as they are, but nonetheless, I'm available. Happy to answer questions. It makes the 10 years of working on this totally worth it. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. See you. Bye.